Senator Amy Koch. So Dr. Seuss says, don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. There's a lot of tears in the room today, and probably going to be some during the speech, but I'll try to keep it minimal. I came into the Senate, the first elected office for which I had ever run, in a small class of 3 in special elections of 2005, along with Senator Terrell Clark and Terry Bonoff. My freshman year, I spoke one time on the Senate floor, one time. And it was not because Senator Bill Belanger had growled at me that freshmen were to be seen and not heard. It was because I believed the adage that it's better to keep your mouth shut and be thought a fool than open it and remove all doubt. Not everyone subscribes to that theory. My first year was the last year of a term, and so I experienced this tradition of the final farewell speeches on the last night. And I recall one time one of the senators standing up and had either written or recited some poetry. And at the time, I was a little more cynical and felt it was a little cheesy. So you can imagine my surprise, Senator Limmer, when as I was thinking about this, a poem began to well up. The working title was Sitting on the Senate Floor, Dreaming of Dockside Margaritas, or Ode to Ingebrigtsen's Mustache. Mercifully for all of us, I've abandoned that project. I could not have imagined that first year everything that lay ahead. Less than 2 years later, I was serving as assistant minority leader and was sort of voluntold to run the Senate elections for 2010. This was after 2008, when Republicans were now in a super minority. The first big election night was not November 2010, it was December 2009. It was the election of Senator Mike Perry. What started in Waseca on that freezing night, as I stood on a corner holding a lawn sign, culminated in an historic turnover of the Senate on November 6th, 2010. I had thought that November 6th would be the completion of my work, as well as all those hardworking Republican candidates. I could not have been more wrong. It was just the beginning. What immediately followed was 60 days of more work than you could possibly imagine, as Republicans transitioned into the majority for the first time in nearly 40 years. And it was hard work on both sides of the aisle, and I would like to publicly thank former Majority Leader Senator Larry Pokemiller and Senator Tom Bach for all their work in cooperating during that transition. The reality sank in November 7th. The Republicans were the dog who'd caught the car, staring at the budget, which at the time was $6 billion in deficit. Remember that? Before we got the good news in February, there was only 5.2. And reserves were essentially empty. But the Senate pushed forward, and we had difficult budget debates, both in caucus and on the floor. More trips to the governor's office than I'm sure he cares to remember, and stories about Senator Bach's stuffed fish traveling through the tunnel. When I look back on that and I think about 21 new members in the majority, chairs that had not a one of them held a gavel before, and that huge deficit, just illustrative of the incredulity that was amongst us. I'll tell a quick story. The first day, I turned my TV on in my office in the morning. I forgot. I left it on. I came back in after the first ceremony, and the very first committee was going. It was Senator Michelle's jobs. It was on. I walked in my office, and there it was. And I ran out of my office, and I said, "Everybody, Senate Republicans are on TV." Fortunately, we didn't know what we didn't know, and we were so heady with capital offices that we made it through. Today, we have a $1.2 billion surplus, full reserves, and an economy on the comeback. Truly, Minnesota's brightest days are in front of them. Okay, I did not want to pass up the opportunity to acknowledge two people that are not here with us. Senator Pat Paraso was a model for young Republican women like me. She took up issues that are not traditionally thought of as women issues. Most notably, Pistol Pack and Pat took up Second Amendment issues. And also, Senator Linda Scheid, so kind and so smart, such a good ambassador. She made me want to work with the Democrats. I'll think about our last visit we had together, but that's just for her and I. I wish they were both here today. To the members that are here with us today, I get to tell you what I think of you. And I'm going to take a little time. Senator Olson, the most senior member of our caucus, one of my proudest moments was seeing you after so many years of service pick up a gavel and go to work on education issues and lead that committee and reforms for all Minnesota students that I know you care so deeply about. Senator Claire Roebling, as finance chair, your leadership and tireless efforts helped to get Minnesota's fiscal house in order. We could use a few more Claires in the Senate, and I hope your public service isn't done. Senator David Han, a Vietnam vet who married a Bolitarian. I recall caucus retreats and late-night Trivial Pursuit games, and you can imagine, Han's one you want on your team. You took on HHS with incredibly big shoes to fill in a really tough situation, and you were magnificent. Senator Terry Bonoff, okay, we're going to pull it together here. Elected at the same time, but I hope we didn't spend a lot of time just hanging out while we were in the Senate all these years, and so I hope that we take some time now to spend some time. So we got a lunch date. Fishbach, her love of a shoe sale, and her idea that the more she shops, the more she saves, meant that she could never be finance chair. She did, however, serve exceptionally as the first woman of the Senate, the first woman president of the Senate, and I'm so glad I was here to see you work. Gerlach, the best camper in the caucus, with his fully stocked camper, his tripod campfire grill, and his gas-powered blender. He's taken no end of ribbing for saying once famously to a lobbyist, "Don't tell me about the bill, tell me about the politics." But in truth, he's a policy wonk who put us to sleep with his discussions on elections and insurance bills. And no one works harder to create good public policy. Senator Ann Rest. Ann, my second year, you assisted in an amendment that allowed the Monticello Cancer Center to open. I can't tell you the difference that's made for the community and my family, so thank you. Jeff Michelle, I see you for many years. He's camera shy and he avoids the limelight. But I know there were a lot of late nights last year that you would have rather been home with the girls under a SpongeBob blanket watching movies. But you were here with me, and I won't forget it, and I'm grateful. Senator Tomassoni, who taught me about the range and range Democrats. The crib notes are mostly they're fun, they're dedicated to the region, and sometimes they're more conservative than I am, which is so confusing. Senator Rosen, best known for the last couple weeks on her Vikings bill, but Julie has always taken on big issues. She knows what she believes, and she never shies from a tough debate. She's a good senator, and she's a better friend. Senator Stump, the winemaker. You are the definition of a gentleman. Senator Ingebrigtsen, the sheriff. He's not here, but I've been amazed by his many cop stories and others that I wish I could scrub my brain. But I won't think of only his heroics. I will remember him camping, sitting by the fire, holding a sweet 2-year-old on his lap, and enjoying some goldfish crackers. Senator Limmer, I think I'll miss your lengthy discourse on data practices most of all. Warren is a natty dresser with a subversive sense of humor, and a truly kind and compassionate man. Senator Metzen, always cheerful. I will miss your committee sketches of Senator Gimsey, Senator Tomassoni, Commissioner McElroy, probably Senator Gazelka. You have a subject matter. Senator John Marty, one of the oddest moments, square dancing with you last year at Minroast. But I'm in awe of how direct and unflinching you are in your principles. Senator Uyghur, I'll always think of your support for veterans and your obvious, undisguised, and well-deserved pride of your daughter. Senator Cohn, I think about your tireless advocacy for the arts. Senator Perry, this would take too long. But I really enjoyed thinking about the look on Capitol Insider faces when I named you state government chair. He dug in. He has a love-hate relationship with the governor. He fights fiercely for reform and is a true friend of veterans. Doug Magnus, the guy everybody wants for their drinking buddy. He's cool, he's collected, and he's a no BS kind of guy. It's been an honor. Senator Benson, the first week of session, she surprises me with a Senate baby and then proceeds to put every man in the chamber to shame when she gives birth on a Friday and is back voting on Monday. Senator Hoffman, we knew that either Larry Poggemiller or I was going to be very wrong on election night. So glad it wasn't me. Gary Dames, you don't mess with him. That's the best advice I can give. He's a spine of steel. Senator Daley, so earnest and forthright. Boy Scouts say, that guy is earnest and forthright. Senator Cruz, his passionate speeches. Senator Dibble, brilliant and dedicated to service. I could go on and on. Senators Eaton, Dietzick, and Coonan. Sorry, I got nothing. You're new. I don't even know if I'm saying Coonan's name right. But good luck. Good luck. The last two, Senator Ortman. Everyone knows that she is a smart, articulate. She's excited by tax policy, and she's a tough and thoughtful lawmaker. But I got to know a funny and loyal friend, and I get to take that with me. Senator Senchum, hands down, he wins the award for the nicest man in the universe. No, I've never heard a person utter a bad word about your character. If you hear a criticism, and they are minimal, it always starts with, I love Senji. The mythical Marlis, in all these years here, I've never actually seen her, is a lucky woman, and we're all better for knowing you. So, to sum up, as the chairman of the board, Frank Sinatra, says, regrets, I've had a few. As Kelly Clarkson says, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And as Tupac says, for every dark night, there's a brighter day. Life and people, and time on this Senate floor are a mix of good and bad. And if you're lucky, more good than bad. I am unbelievably fortunate. And I'm grateful to all of you for your part in that. Thanks to my district, the people who it was an honor to serve. Wright County is truly heaven on earth. And to my family, for all their love and support. In particular, Mom. Every day she's showing me about strength and dignity in the face of adversity. I love you, Mom.